Hey guys, welcome back to Carlito Clix. I'm your host Carlito.
And I'm Dane Simpson.
And today we did another themed battle. Last time we did Avengers vs. X-Men, and this time we answered the age-old question of who would win, Avengers or Justice League. So, both me and Dane played a 900-point team. I represented the Avengers.
And I represented the Justice League.
And we're going to talk to you about the armies that we played, what exactly happened, strategy, and results, yada, yada, yada.
All that jazz.
Yeah. So, to kick it off, I am going to talk about who was on my team. We had the Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Ant-Man, Wasp, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. We wanted to get all the main Avengers, the first appearance, and some of the more notable. I understand that Scarlet Witch would kind of be second tier, but we wanted to get the movie guys, the very recognizable, onto the team.
Basically, when you're building an Avengers team, you know, sort of what people recognize, anyways, as to be.
Because there's so many characters we could have put in.
Yeah,
I could have went Thing, Wolverine, Spider-Man, you know,
all those guys. Vision. The list goes on, and the same is for DC.
There's even a Loki in the Avengers, like they have an Avengers keyword. So we just want to get the very recognizable.
And on the DC side, we had the DC Trinity, of course, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, along with Aquaman, Green Lantern, The Flash, John Jones.
And that's it.
And that's it. That's all there was.
So, let's start off with down to what happened. Map pick and initiative. The Avengers won map pick. I picked for the map the bridge. I wanted to have a straight head-to-head fight. A lot of their hypersonic wouldn't be as effective on this map, I felt, because where he had hypersonic, you know, if he takes damage, he goes onto it, he starts with it or whatever. None of my guys did or ever really even got it. So I figured that would cut it off. Plus, my guys had a bit of a superior range. Yeah. So I wanted to be in that shooting gallery.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that you had going for you was your two biggest models on the board also had flight. You know, which is always a big thing with the map. If you can sort of have characters who have flight and move out into the water there and just kind of shoot from there, you know, it's awesome.
I felt that the map was a bit in my favor.
Yeah, definitely.
So to compare the teams here, and right out the gate, I actually felt that the Avengers looked a little bit stronger. On the Hulk, we had opening outwit, and on Iron Man we had opening perplex. Neither team had any probability control. As far as beat sticks go, I had Iron Man and I had Thor. Iron Man, opening with his pulse wave, was able to get through a lot of the defenses. Unfortunately, I had also a lot of little people to tie up. Captain America, Black Widow. I would say Hawkeye, but really he just stayed back and shot and was very effective doing what he does. Actually, my weenie characters were probably where what held me back. I had so much dead weight on the team that did almost nothing. Now your team, when you break it down, had strong people, but smaller point costed. So like 136 point Wonder Woman and 111 point Aquaman, they're mini beat sticks, and then your big beat stick would be Superman.
Well, I really think that was one of my greatest strengths in that game, was that I had sort of more activations that counted, right? You know,
there were more threats on the Justice League side, but there were bigger threats on the Avengers side. Yeah. Just before we go away from this, now on the DC side, you had opening, outwit, and perplex as well. Yes. So it actually was very even. It was just the amount of just kind of the threat levels of the characters were a bit higher on DC.
Talk about is sort of the big plays of the game. What made and broke the game. For Carlito, The big move I thought was definitely you made a really nice energy explosion, hitting a number of targets and sort of bouncing around and shaking up Batman for a lot of damage there.
My very first turn, I decided to be incredibly aggressive, perplex up Iron Man's attack, outwit Superman's defensive power, and double target energy explosion. I knew Dane's stealth pieces were going to be an issue. It was stealth without wit, and I really had no way to deal with that. So right away, I outwitted the two characters that were beside Batman, outwitted one of the characters, targeted the two characters that were beside Batman, and had a nice energy explosion. It hit. It did Superman for 1, Flash for 1, Batman for 2, and Wonder Woman for 1.
Yeah, because she had something outwitted as well.
Yeah. So it was a nice spread out of damage that I was able to do to these guys. Well, it wasn't big damage on anyone, but it got them off all their first clicks and their big clicks, which was really, really effective.
For me, I thought one of my best moves was I took a big risk and I hemmed and hawed over this one a little bit, but I used Aquaman. Charge, super strength. I broke away from his Hulk, I think it was, to charge Black Widow. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal, but what it did was sort of cleared a laneway for Superman to take a shot at Iron Man. And so, I mean, it was taking a bit of a risk there. He doesn't have flight, so it's on 4, 5, 6, but he managed to break away, clocked her pretty hard, took her out of the game, and opened up that shot for Superman, which proved to be really effective.
One of the advantages that I felt that the Justice League had right out of the gate, once I started doing damage to them, I immediately realized this. My characters, when they took damage, got bad fast. Like Scarlet
Witch.
Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, died in one shot. Yeah. Captain America died in one shot. Hulk did good, but still he dropped pretty fast. Hank Pym and Wasp dropped right away. Iron Man took one shot, went down to a 9 attack and stopped hitting. I hammered in Wonder Woman. It took me 4 attacks. I hammered in Aquaman. It took me 3 attacks to kill him. Yeah. Superman ended up I hit him twice for huge damage. And he was just fine and ready to go. I couldn't afford to take damage. So where in the very beginning I was really winning the game, strategy-wise, I was getting lucky, I was hitting the attacks, doing good damage. It didn't matter because once I started taking damage, my models couldn't keep up. And they dropped so fast.
And that's sort of one of the big things, I guess, in this game that we really saw a difference between the way that the Marvel characters were, sort of statted out and created and given powers versus the way that the DC models were made. The DC ones are good pretty much all the way through their dials. Longer dials, typically.
It seems.
Than Marvel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could be the difference in point cost as well.
Right,
you were playing much more 110 to 140 point pieces, where I had 200 plus point pieces, and then I had below 100 point pieces. There was no happy medium.
Yeah.
I mean, so your guys definitely lasted a lot longer. Even straight down to Batman, a guy who is a guy. He's 120 points, still has 7 clicks of health or something like that, and it took me a while to get through him.
Yeah. Who do you think your MVP was for the game? Because I definitely think that while Superman was good, Aquaman put out a lot of damage for me. I still think that Green Lantern was my MVP.
Green Lantern, did you do a great job?
All over the board where I needed them to be, and being able to dish out some damage when I needed them to.
He gave you a lot of mobility. My personal thought was the Flash. The Avengers don't have anything to deal with the Flash.
It's true.
He runs up, he hits where, as long as he's hitting tactically and not really overcommitting, there was almost nothing I could do to him at any point. I hit him once early with an energy explosion, and the rest was nothing. If I did get an attack at him, I had to commit really far in, and you've dodged it, or it either just missed or you dodged it, and then the guy died immediately after because he's in the middle of your army.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was another really good model for me, but yeah, I like the Green Lantern.
My personal favorite model that did probably the best for me, we had, pardon me guys, the Hulk did a really good job. Yeah. Believe it or not, he never ended up battlefield promoting, but he ended up landing on his best click and was a good harasser for the most part. While Iron Man is great, and I think he's one of the best figures out of the 10th anniversary set.
Definitely.
He, aside from that opening attack, did almost nothing. He just got murdered after that.
Yeah.
Thor lasted a long time, but really didn't do all that much. It's got to be the Hulk. And that's depressing. It's a 87-point model that, in the end, didn't actually do all that much damage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing was that at one point he goes up to the 18 defense, and he lasted until late game because I really didn't hit him hard enough to send him over those really good clicks when he was Bruce Banner. And so when he was the Hulk, 18 defense in late game was hard to crack for me, and he soaked up a lot of damage.
He soaked up a lot of attacks, and he was slow going. Like, unfortunately, he had the charge, but you were outwitting it. Yeah. He didn't have Indomitable, so he was slow going, so he didn't actually get a chance to hit all that often. Yeah. But yeah, the Hulk did a good job. Yeah. I guess Thor would be the next up because he lasted the longest, and I guess he did mop up a few figures. Yeah. Late battle, he got a little bit more powerful. Thankfully, Thor starts off strong, then gets a little crappier, then gets better, as God models do. Yeah. That was fortunate for me, but it seemed like I was winning, but in the end, I just ran out of steam. The Avengers started to suck.
Yeah. And that sort of brings us to, I guess, the conclusion of the fight. In the end, it was the Justice League who pulled it out. Not by an overly large margin. I mean, I still had a number of models on the board, but a few of them were on their last clicks.
Yeah, it was a tight game, as much as it might not seem like it when we explain it. I was a little perturbed by the outcome because I thought that the Avengers were going to have it, and I really hoped that A, I wanted to win, but B, I was hoping that the Avengers would take it home, but not the case. So guys, Marvel versus DC, Justice League, Avengers, the Justice League wins, takes it home. So, thanks for joining us for the exciting conclusion to our themed battle report. I'm Carlito, saying thanks for coming by.